pathway. And he's a guest from Rock the Talk Club from McAfee. And his evaluator for today will be Toastmaster Rashmi. I request Toastmaster Rashmi to read out the speech objectives.
Thanks, Toastmaster Deepa. Good evening, everybody again. Toastmaster Ganesh is attempting his Level 2 Project 1, and the purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. So I'd like to wish Toastmaster Ganesh all the best. Timer, please note, the time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah. The first speaker today is, I asked him earlier this morning as to what his unforgettable memory of with a teacher is. And he said his favorite teacher was a chemistry teacher in high school. And the one thing that he remembers most is that he had a leg injury one day, and this teacher went out of the way, treated the wound and took him back to his home, and he just was unable to forget this experience. And today he's, as I already mentioned, he's attempting his Project 2 from Level 2 Project 1. Please join your hands in welcoming Speaker 1 on stage, Toastmaster Ganesh Prasad. Toastmaster Ganesh Prasad's speech is titled Peekaboo, Peekaboo by Toastmaster Ganesh Prasad.
It was a dark and stormy night. Life was hell-bent upon me. I was tired and frustrated of fixing things, both in my personal life and my professional life. I was wondering, are things ever going to get back? I was lying on the bed, looking at the stars through my window, half asleep. Mike Tyson came in my dream. He said, everyone's got a plan until they're punched right in the face. He stood there looking over my shoulders and said, it's time you remind them, Ganesh. It's time. Back to reality, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, it's time to remind you of my peekaboo leadership skill. Rule number 1, being decisive. Just like a boxing match, you always don't hit the opponent. Most of the time, you plan to defend. You hit your opponent only when he's weak, and you wait for the perfect moment. I'm being decisive. I don't just play games. When I play, I ensure that I win. A couple of months back, the area contest master called asked if I could be the evaluation contest master. I was quite skeptical initially. I hadn't spoken to a crowd comprising of not more than 20 people. This time, in the area contest, I had to speak in front of a crowd of around 100 people. I spoke and I aced it. It's important that you do things which matter and leave the rest. Do things which is only needed. To brief you about my rule number 1, being decisive, it's about you don't play always, but when you play, you ensure that you win. Rule number 2, being aggressive. In a boxing game, the sure shot way to win a match is strike the fear in the opponent by being aggressive, looking straight in the eye and creating a fear in his heart. I've been aggressive. It was the last exam of my engineering. I hadn't opened the book for about 6 months. I knew if I'd failed this exam, I would lose 4 offer letters. Companies won't recruit a failure. I had just 3 days left to ace the exam. I studied aggressively for 15 hours a day with caffeine. I not only passed the exam, I topped the subject in my college. In short, to brief about rule number 2 is when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Rule number 3, rebound. Everyone has something that they stumble upon. Everyone has something that they fail to. And when the walls are big, when the obstacles are huge, you often tend to get disappointed and you tend to fail. The most important thing is rebound. It was the last school running race competition. I had never won a race in my entire schooling career. I was very fragile and weak. Just before the match could begin, two tall and fat guys bullied me. I was knocked down and I was thrown over the floor. And in a minute, the game began. I just said to myself, Ganesh, just focus on this race. There'll be plenty of time for soul searching after this race. The race began. I was initially trembling and shivering because bullied had ridiculed me. The race began. My heart was pounding swiftly. All I did was run as fast as I could and didn't think of any other thing. I just ran the race, completed, and looked back and looked like I won the last school running race competition. Often things come in your way. When you're punched right in your face, you're lying down flat. The sure shot to come back in a game is to wake up. You gotta wake up in the count of 1 to 10 or you lose. Wake up to end the life coma of depression and anxiety. Wake up from fears. Wake up from your obstacles. Thank you, Mike. You are my hero. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Wasn't that excellent usage of body language? I'm a